passports and partnerships, let's explore Southwest Nova Scotia to the world and more. Student voices bright and true, a global journey just for you.
Welcome back to another episode of Passports and Partnerships, where we're sharing the international stories of our Tri-County community. This morning, I'm at the Blades family. Thank you so much, Doug and Janine.
Thanks for coming all the way to Cape Island.
Thank you for opening your home and sharing your story. Your story starts a couple of years ago. Janine, how did you become involved with the International Student Program?
Well, honestly, we just kind of started seeing ads around. It seemed like there was a need in this area, and it's Doug that really wanted to do it more than me at the time. He remembered students when he was a teenager in high school,
right.
And he said the international kids were all the cool kids.
Yeah.
They were the ones that everyone wanted to hang out with.
That's true.
And he thought it would be a good idea, and we had a spare room.
Yeah.
So with some convincing, we decided to give it a try. But our first student was fantastic. I mean, they've all been good.
Right.
But our first one really embraced the kids, and we've certainly had no issues with our own children and the students at all.
Oh, that's fantastic. Doug, you talked to Janine around this, so you had some experiences with international students in high school. And in small communities, often the international students will come in, and back when we were in school, that would have been definitely more unique because we didn't have a lot of newcomers in our areas here in rural Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. And many of our students do have kind of a celebrity status when they roll into a town like Barrington High. Describe when you were thinking around inviting them in. What were you hoping that would do for your kids and family as far as exposing them to different cultures?
I remember hoping and still hope that even though we are a very small community, it's still a very big world. And I hope that they get a chance to see it. Not everybody always can travel to places, but this is a great opportunity to bring a part of the world to your location. And for the kids to experience that and to realize everything is not like it is here, just a great way to see them grow with respect and understanding of different cultures and different ways of life.
Janine mentioned that you felt when you heard those ads out there calling for homes in the community and you weren't sure. There is no doubt in my mind in the few years that you've been involved in the program, you provide a wonderful experience for the kids that you host it. Just share with people, what are those key traits that you think as a family make for a successful hosting experience?
Yeah, we've really enjoyed hosting the students that we've had. I feel some of the key traits of just providing a good experience are just living like we do, remembering what you have in your area, showing the students how you live, how you raise your own kids, how everybody works around here. You can live in an area your whole life and lose track of what makes it great.
Absolutely.
Because you see it every day, beaches and the sightseeing and the hardworking culture and all of it that makes it a great place to live.
Absolutely. And when we think around what's special, we often think it's something somewhere else. And right here, seeing it through the lens of an international student, the Blades family, you've had generations involved in the seafood industry, right? Mm-hmm. That's a wonderful part of our culture in our region that you're able to share with our students when they come.
Yeah.
When you think of that, what are some things related to seafood or foods and sharing that culture specific to Southwest Nova Scotia that really resonates with kids?
I don't know. I immediately think of our current student, Julia. We've taken her to my place of work and shown her around, and she just can't get enough. Yeah. She loves the lobsters, the boats. Yeah. Even when I open the doors to the processing plant, right, and she looks at me and says, "I love that smell."
We never had anyone.
She's one of the million.
Yeah.
And it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You might have a future employee there, Doug.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When I get home from work, I can't wait to wash my clothes. And everybody says, "Oh, Dad, you stink." And we've got this new kid in the house that just, "Oh, I love that smell," she says.
That's cute. Janine, how many students have you hosted so far, and where have they been from? And do you continue to stay in contact?
So we've hosted 6 in the 3 years that we've done this, and we're still in contact with all of them.
Right.
Some more than others. Some of them, it's just, we still follow each other on social media. And others, like our first ever student, Larissa, we actually went down to Brazil to meet her mother and to visit with her. And they toured us around Brazil for like 10 days. Just, a trip of a lifetime. So yeah, we've had students from Brazil, bookends right now. So our first one and our current one, and a few from Italy and Germany. And first semester was Mexico, yeah.
What do you think are really important things to consider when there's a difference of either ideas or there's a culture difference between what we're expecting as a host family and that of a student?
Focus on communication. So whether it's your own kid or whether it's someone from a different country, you have to make sure that they understand what you're saying, not just the actual words coming out of your mouth, but that they understand the general idea. We do have a page of rules because they told us we were supposed to, but number one is ask questions if you don't understand.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I want to convey to them, is that if there's anything you don't understand, whether it's something weird in the bathroom or, or what's going on in the backyard, anything at all, you have to be open and you have to meet them where they're at.
Right.
Not that we have weird things in the bathroom.
No, I mean like the plumbing.
Yeah. There are differences around the world.
Around the world, especially regarding plumbing and things like that. Sorry.
When students come and it's an intercultural exchange, we're able to share our culture in the Barrington area in Southwest Nova, and they're also sharing their culture with your family. How important has that been? And have there been things that for you, Janine, and your family was like, wow, I had no idea that was true in different spots of the world?
We try to do a little research on the countries before they come in.
Right.
But I mean, everybody's different. Different regions of different countries are different. What we really love is sharing through food.
Right. Doug, want to share some about the foods?
Yeah, like Janine said, the food is a great bridge between cultures. I love to cook, and I love to experiment with what I cook.
Right.
And before we decided to host even, I would try to make homemade tortillas or homemade pasta, try to do it the real way.
Right.
And you doing that without an authentic a person from that culture, you don't know.
I'm catching on to you, Doug. You're bringing in the experts for your own
I'm bringing in the experts. It's you just don't know if it's accurate or not.
Yeah.
And we had Anna from Italy. We tried out all the focaccia and homemade pasta and lasagna, and the way we made lasagna was way off. From real Italian lasagna, and it was great to learn that stuff. And it really in the kitchen, nobody's I find nobody's nervous, nobody's hesitant. There's no
sleeves rolled up, and everybody gets in.
Yeah, everybody gets in, and you don't even have to worry about communication anymore because you're just cooking, and everybody knows the steps, and you don't have to translate. This is where we add the onions or anything like it. Just everybody just starts working together, and you're laughing, and this is wrong, don't do that, and it's terrible, but we'll fix it next time, and it all just comes very natural that way. And
there's no question we share so much eating around a table and the food preparation. How important is it having other hosts for a network to lean on and help, whether it's for rides or advice or support at times or encouragement? Like, What do you think we have in Barrington, and what are opportunities for growth?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. I think at its heart, the program is amazing, and without great hosts, it diminishes how amazing it can be. 100%. So you really need those great hosts, and not everybody can do everything all the time.
Right.
You need great hosts that can work together at the same time. And, you know, our first student and second student, they were great friends with students that Bill and Rhonda were hosting. Right. And that introduced us into that world of getting to know Bill and Rhonda. And it's just amazing people to get to know and to try to share this experience with. And, you know, sometimes we're going in different directions, chasing our kids, whatever, sports or hobbies or friends' houses, and two parents. And now when we host, there's 3 kids.
Right.
So you're outnumbered, and sometimes it is a struggle. So, you know, sometimes, and coming back from an event, Bill will get a hold of us and say, hey, I'm going anyway. Does your kid need a ride? Or we'll do the same. You try to help out where you can. So you still have to get the day by day done.
Absolutely. I think with our program, you grow your family as host families, but then you grow with other families in the area, right?
Exactly.
Like you really do. When you think of your kids' experience at Barrington High and being part of the Barrington community, and the international students come in, what sort of things really engage them? Being in a smaller town, because some of our kids come from cities of 5 million or 10 million. What does a small community provide that those large cities do not?
That's a tough question. I can start. What comes to the top of the head is what we can't provide, and I know public transportation is one of the huge issues that we hear about with almost every student that arrives, and I think that leads into what we can provide. A small community, whether it's a small way of life or old-fashioned way of life, but it's still very cooperative. Mm-hmm. If you need a helping hand, people are there to lend a helping hand. If you need to get somewhere, somebody's going to get you there. In a major city where they're from, there's not a lot of, I don't know, I haven't lived in a major city, so I don't know, I assume, but it doesn't seem like there's the same connection between neighbors or communities. I find we can provide that here, and it really highlights it again for us as well.
So we had a student from a very large city in Italy, and, you know, we thought rural life might be quite difficult for her, knowing that she came from Milan.
Right.
And she would go, you know, we always bring them to the grocery stores just to see the differences and see if there's anything that they like, and we'll buy them whatever foods they want to eat. And she loved the fact that you could have chit-chat with the cashier.
Oh, yes.
And she said, I am going to miss that.
Yeah.
Because she said, no one is like that in my city. You can't just have a random conversation with someone who's ringing in your groceries. Like, that just does not happen. Yeah. So something that we take for granted, I mean, who thinks of that, right? Of course we're going to have a conversation with the cashier.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. To us, it's just totally normal. Yeah. So for her, she was like, it's those types of interactions that she had never experienced before. Yeah. Both of her parents were from cities, only lived in cities, only visited cities. So she had just never experienced anything like that. So it is funny, the things that they pick up on that we take for granted.
Absolutely, Janine. So Doug talked around that connectedness that we have in small communities, and what you're describing is a warmth, right? Yeah. Even with people that we don't know, we're still warm with, right? And having conversations. And a lot of it might be surface level. How's the day? A good day. Have a good day.
Yeah. No, it's exactly
It's a connection with people in our communities that's important and part of our culture.
Yeah. There was another student from Italy actually that said she was going to miss the humor. Yeah. She said, everyone around here likes to joke. Everyone likes to laugh. She said, it's not like that where I live. Yeah. And she said, everyone's going to feel extremely dull when I get back, because she said, here, everyone loves to joke. And Doug's a big joker. And so It's a little bit harder when there's a language barrier because the jokes don't make sense.
Some of them are just...
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah. There could be the language barrier, and sometimes the dad jokes don't always land, from my experience. Sometimes they're swing and a miss. I get some groans from my own kids.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there now that our kids are getting older. Yeah.
A lot of groans from our own kids.
Yeah.
Janine, there's no doubt that this podcast will be watched around our area. If there's someone watching this that are living in Southwest Nova wondering, listening to the Blades experience, it sounds pretty good. What advice might you have if they're thinking about hosting students?
I say give it a try. Give it a try. It's not like you're signing a contract for life.
Right.
The good thing about it is that when you become a parent, you're a parent for life.
Yeah.
You can become an international host parent for one semester and give it a try.
Right.
And if it's really not for you, it was 5 months, and that's it. There's no, I don't want to say there's no harm in it, but there's very little risk because it's only, you can take it one semester at a time. I was the one that was nervous about it.
Right.
It was Doug who was the first one in the family who wanted to do it. We discussed it with our kids. They were okay. We were all a little nervous. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get.
And you're still nervous with everyone.
Every student.
Yeah.
It's those butterflies because you're excited to meet someone new, but at the same time you're nervous. But we've had great experiences, and it's been so good for the kids and for us, and just to open up our little world and to learn about accepting other cultures, accepting other people, accepting other ways. And I think maybe now more than ever, that's really important.
It is, isn't it? I started my job partway through the school year, so I got to see departures at the end of June. And I saw all the tears at the airport, and I thought, what on earth have I got myself into? This doesn't seem fun at all. Those aren't goodbyes, are they? For you and your family, it's been, we'll see you later, and you've been able to visit that. Just kind of talk me through when the student is at the end of their stay. How does that impact your family, and how do you stay connected?
I think for anything, whether it's, maybe a teacher who has just started teaching, that first class that they've had is very special to them, memorable.
Yes.
For us, I think it's the same with hosting.
Right.
The first one really hits you.
Right.
Really hits you hard when they go home. And I just saw it happening in our own at BMHS with another host family who was new this year. And they said, oh my gosh, how do you do it? Yeah. And I had asked the same thing to Bill and Rhonda when we were new. How do you do this? How do you say goodbye? But in our situation, she said, I am going to see you again, whether it's me coming to Canada or you coming to Brazil. This is not goodbye. Yeah. And we were fortunate enough to go to Brazil and, see her and meet her mother and spend quality time with them. And it was just fantastic. But even if, it's not realistic to visit every country in the world.
Right.
But with the technology today, we FaceTime or I guess it's WhatsApp because that's what they use. We do WhatsApp video calls with our students and, it's really great. Like the first time we did that, even our dog Sable, she would hear the voices of our past students and perk up and look around, confused. Where is she? Where is she? And so it's not like it was before, you really can stay connected and it helps ease the heartbreak of when they do go.
No, thank you. Doug, it's not lost on me that there's going to be people watching this from different spots of the world, different corners of the earth, right? Is there anything you'd like to share about that you haven't already around what makes us so special in this area, or why they should consider sending their children to Nova Scotia to study?
I think that they definitely should.
Right.
Send your student or your child here to study. I think it's intangible. You can't put your finger on it.
Oh.
It's just something special in the air. I guess it sounds cliche or like I'm full of it.
Well,
Yeah, it's just a special way of life. It's very connected. It's small. There's no public transportation. The school is small. Actually, the small school has been a benefit for a lot of students. Have said that
Right.
they really enjoy a class of 20 or 15. It's a good break. They get a one-on-one with their teacher.
yeah.
Maybe that really helps with the connection in a small area. It's that much easier to make a connection with everybody around you. I feel like coming here for a term as a student, it's more than just getting school in a different place for 5 months or 10 months or however long they come here for. It's a great life experience
It is.
at the same time. It's not, it doesn't just stop at going somewhere else for school.
Right.
It's not just that.
No, it's life-changing for the students.
Yeah.
And you've shared how it's been life-changing for you and your family, so thank you for that. Janine, Doug, thank you for all you're doing for our kids in the Barrington area. You're wonderful host parents, and we're so appreciative for the love and care that you give for all of our kids and opening your hearts and home. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.